Manx Radio Sport.
Good evening and welcome to Friday Sport Preview on Manx Radio. I'm Rob Pritchard with our team of pundits to take a look at the upcoming sporting action for the island this weekend over the next hour. Coming up tonight. One Railway Cup spot remains mathematically up for grabs in Saturday's football clashes. In what will be only her second fight of 2025, boxer Jade Burden faces a former title contender in Blackpool tomorrow. A highly anticipated Manx derby is on the cards in rugby. 4 teams remain in the hunt for one league title as the final weekend of the 2025 mixed hockey season awaits, and a brand new island facility is hoping to provide state-of-the-art resources to those involved in cricket. That's all to come this evening. Welcome to the latest edition of Friday Sport Preview on Manx Radio. The time has just gone 29 minutes to 6. Taking a look at the latest football, rugby and hockey action, and even more than that over the weekend, both here on Manx shores and further afield. Turning our attention to what will be another busy weekend in Manx football. We hope at least. Well, we're crossing our fingers after the rather disappointing weather we've had once again at times this week, and hopefully we're going to get a full schedule going ahead to look ahead to what is to come. As always is our football correspondent Tony Mepham. Tony, another busy schedule in mind. Before we actually get into the specific fixtures themselves in the Canada Life Men's Premier League and elsewhere, in fact, there have been just a couple of changes, haven't there?
Yeah, there has, and we're working hot off the press, to be honest with you, because it's changing by the minute. But the couple of games that we're just sort of tweaking around with at the moment is sort of the important ones that try and get the Railway Cup sorted out. And Union Mills against Laxey. Union Mills pitch, we're just waiting to hear if it's fit or not, but we've got the bowl on standby because we need to get that game sort of played. And the other one, which is Foxdale against St John's, delighted to say that St John's have looked at the pitch, and actually it's not too bad, but with the forecast that's coming in tonight, Rob, they're just playing safe and have said that they're happy enough to give up home advantage and play it at St John's. We just need confirmation from St John's on that, but just spoke with Will Brown, and hopefully everything's okay. One or two other ones, the Colby Governors, or it's the other way around, Governors Athletic against Colby in combination 2. That's been moved to Colby because they've got 2 really good pitches down there, so that's not an issue. And the other one, this is an additional fixture because with Foxdale's game being switched to home advantage for them just to get that Railway Cup sorted, it was meant that the Foxdale Russian game was postponed. Well, glad to say that about 2 days ago it was, Foxdale have agreed to play the game at Russian, so they'll give up home advantage just to get some football, Rob. It's madness at the moment with the amount of bad weather that we've had causing problems with the pitches.
Indeed, yeah, and of course Russian United's first team not in action this weekend. Well, let's talk about then the permutations as to why, in the Canada Life Men's Premier League at least, the games for Laxey and St John's United are particularly important because they are the 2 sides that could still mathematically make it into the 4th and final spot for this year's Railway Cup competition. The top 3 in the Canada Life Men's Premier League, Corinthians, Peel and Onken, have already secured their place as well. Tony, let's start with Laxey and that game against Union Mills that you say may well be moved to the bowl, so the venue's still to be confirmed, but for Laxey, very much have the upper hand over St John's in this one because all they have to do is avoid defeat.
Well, it is, and when you look at last week's game, everything was looking so good for them for the Manx Car Store Railway Cup semi-final draw when they were 4-0 up, but suddenly it all went wrong for them. Defensively, it just opened up, and Onken exploited the spaces, and it was really good to watch. But the way it is at the moment, Laxey basically need 1 point from 2 games. So tomorrow they play Union Mills, and if they still don't get that point, if they lose that game, then they've got Old Boys to play as well, but so have St John's. So we've got a real big problem if Laxey don't get a point tomorrow, and then we've got Old Boys to play, both sides possibly, if St John's got a result against Foxdale. So there's a little bit of to and fro, and we're hoping to do the draw tomorrow where the new sponsors are going to come up and do it if we do have those 4 teams. But at the moment we know Corinthians, Peel and Onken are safe and in the draw.
Yeah, and conversely, St John's United, they have to hope a lot of things go their way, because St John's United would have to win their next 2 games and also hope that Laxey both lose these next 2 games, including this weekend. And also there has to be a big swing on goal difference, because St John's United +3 goal difference, Laxey +17. As you've mentioned, Tony, they are playing Foxdale. Was due to be at Billygoat Park and has now been moved to St John's.
It is, and when you look at that one, St John's will be happy enough with the team that they've got out there. And when they knocked out Russian last week, it was a great result for them. They had to be patient and wait near enough to the last few minutes, but it was Callum Taggart who came up trumps for them. And when you look at the team that they've got there at St John's, Rob, you can understand why they're sort of getting involved in this Railway Cup possible semi-final draw, because they've got new signing Paul Whitehead, James Rice is in there as well. You've got good players who have come back from injury. Dean Lease, one of them, but then Rhys Oates has transferred from Peel into St John's, and you've got Joe Quayle in there as well, and Callum Taggart will always cause problems in front of goal. So I think St John's will beat Foxdale, purely because Foxdale really struggling at the moment. And when you think of it, it's nearly a month since he last played, Rob, 8th I think it was of November, so a big problem for them. But they've got players there who can turn it on. Dean Bettridge and Liam Cannon can score goals. Jason Chatwood's probably one of the best forwards, I feel, in the Premiership, because he proved it when he played for Corinthians. He could score goals. And when you've got Alex Hewitt in there as well, Foxdale make it difficult, but I just think St John's will be too strong.
Yeah, for Foxdale, challenging season so far. Only played 9 so far, the fewest in the Premier League, given the conditions that we've had that have caused a few postponements, and still yet to get a win on the board this season. The only team in the top flight not to manage 3 points in a game so far. At the other end of the table, though, Corinthians leading the way at the moment. They're 7 points clear of Peel in second. Peel, incidentally, 2 games in hand. But Corinthians still unbeaten after 12 games, 9 wins and 3 draws. They're coming up against a Braddon side, Tony, just 2 points above the drop zone at the moment, at the halfway stage of the season, it must be said.
Yeah, they are, but I think, with Braddon, they'll take a lot of confidence from that result against Ayr United, where they drew 4-4. And again, people are sharing the responsibility of scoring the goals there for Braddon. Nick Harvey's having a really good season in front of goal. Duncan Ray got a couple of goals recently. Charlie Knight got one as well. But when you look at other people, young Tom Healy's a really good player, plays in that midfield. And when you look at the goalkeeper, Alex Haddock, tremendous goalkeeper, and Joe Burrows as well, works hard in that midfield defensive role. But Corinthians, they're absolutely flying, and what a result that was 7 days ago against Union Mills, winning 8-0. And Luke Murray's been in superb form, and it's just great to see his health is good as well. Josh Rydings has been a really good strike partner for him while Sean Doyle's been injured. But Ben Ramsey's been given a chance back in there in midfield, and he's always done well. Conor Clark on that left-hand side. But I think it's defensively, Darren Kane is playing really well, to say he's a Masters player now, so well done to him. Baron Colley's been fantastic at the back with Stewie Smith, and Dan Simpson, what a nightmare he is to deal with on the left hand side. So I'd expect Corinthians to keep the pressure on at the top of the table and pick up those 3 points.
Up in the north, the Ireland and Andrews playing fields, United will be hosting Peel. Now, Tony, in recent years, this has very much been a top-of-the-table battle, and Peel up there at the moment. We've talked about it a couple of times. United just not quite hitting those high standards that they have been in the last couple of years, just at the moment.
No, I think over the last 2 or 3 years, or maybe a bit longer, to be honest with you, Rob, the last 5 years, when you look at a fixture, Ayr against Peel, wherever it may be, you always knew that it was for something. It was going for silverware. A little bit different this season, and United are sort of in transformation at the moment. Younger players coming in, and when I look at Leo Tregurthas start scoring goals, he's been there a couple of years. Ben Fox is a new player that's come in over the last couple of games, and he scored one last time. And Ben Ramage, who's signed from Ramsey, has been a really good signing for them. We know the people that are going to cause damage. Sean Kelly's in there. He got a couple of goals last time. Jamie Callister glues it all together at the back. But you want a little bit more, I think, from other players around. Chris Duggan's one who can score goals, so he needs to get his shooting boots on. And young Mark Nixon as well. He can play up front and cause problems. But, against Peel, they beat St Mary's 2-1, but to me, I thought St Mary's were the best of the two sides, to be honest with you, Rob. And when you look at the young players they've got there, and complemented by the older players as well, Dan Bell's back in the squad, Lee Gale's there scoring goal, Thomas Brown looks now as if he's back from injury. And I think, really the big plus for the manager, Peter Kenyock, has been the two centre-backs. Finn Donoghue and Sam Kenyock, his son, have done really well together. And Ben Woolbridge on that left-hand side. Matthew Woods, we'll see if he's back from injury. Taylor Andrews can cause problems up front. I can't see a United beating Peel.
And elsewhere in the north of the island, Ramsey, 9th in the table at the moment. They're one of the teams playing catch-up along with the likes of St John's, Russian Laxey, Peel, and of course Foxdale at the bottom, and Douglas High School Old Boys. Only played 10 so far as we come into the halfway point of the season. Some are at that halfway stage. They're coming up against another side who just mentioned a moment ago, also on 10 games. Douglas High School Old Boys, second from bottom and 2 points from safety at the moment.
Yeah, and I think Old Boys, you look at that result against Donkin, 3-3. That's a fair result, and they mixed it with the big boys. And when you look at sort of people up front, you've got Cam Brew, who there can score goals. Jacob Stones as well is on it. Oliver Taylor as well has been scoring goals lately. So it looks really good. Young player that's I've been impressed with when I've seen him a couple of times. Dave Wilson's in there. And then when you look at Danny Corran, William Kearns, I noticed, was on the team sheet in the last game. Drew Ward's back in things at the back. So he's got to impress his brother, who's the manager, Robbie Ward. Then Old Boys will fancy the chances against a Ramsey side, really, that struggled a little bit this year, to be fair, Rob, because last year they were standouts and had great cup competitions. But 3-3 with Braddon, bit of a slip up with points there. But good to see Graham Kennish back in the squad. Dylan Pickles is there as well. Good goalkeeper Mason Prince. Jack Gilbert has been scoring the odd goal as well. And when you look at new signing Cameron Torr, he can mix it up front and get goals. And Andrew Cleater as well is, really experienced in that midfield. And Matthew Jones, he's scoring a couple of goals. I expect Ramsey just to take it.
Very well, those are kind of the Life Men's Premier League games. Ardern and Drug Unlimited Division 2. This battle keeps rumbling on and on and on at the top of Ardern and Drug Unlimited Division 2 between the two southern rivals Castletown and Colby. Still just 2 points separate them in the top two spots of the table. Castletown leading the way with 28 points after 11 games. Colby on 26 points after the same amount. 4 games in Division 2 this weekend. We'll start with Colby. They're going to be at home to a Governor's Athletic side who've played 9 this season, so another team playing catch-up and also still yet to get their first win of the season. Yeah,
it's a game you expect Colby to win, but that game last week against Ramsey Youth Centre, that was a huge game, and they sneaked it just 1-0. Jordan Edge got the goal. I've noticed Steve Collister's back in the squad, so that's brilliant because he can score goals. Carl Hickey's in there, probably good partnership between those two. Ollie Edge is back in the starting lineup as well. So, Colby, I think by the look of it, are pretty well full strength, but Governor's Athletic lost to Castletown 6-0, and this one's going to be a sort of similar scenario unless Billy Sweeney's men can get it together. And when you look at Fabio Capito, you've got Tom Elson's in there, Diego Vicente as well, then Governors will have a right good go. And I keep saying it, and I'm going to keep saying it again, physically when you look at Governors, the players are really tall, strong, and that might be able to cause some problems against Colby, but I don't think so. Colby to keep the pressure on Castletown.
And when it comes to Castletown, it's a case of top of the table versus bottom of the table, because Castletown are going to be hosting Douglas and District, who, like Governors, still searching for that first win of the season. Yeah, they are, but D&D, I think, have improved a little bit of late, and, they only lost out 3-0 to Pulrose, so I think that's pretty good. Again, it's a question of, what team they've got out there. Robert Smith, Jacqueline Mayers have been names that have popped up who've played really well, but Castletown, that 6-0 win was pretty impressive, and Ross Crawford, Charlie Quirk, Josh Glover, Harry Hinks in there, and I noticed Alex Crawley was missing, so that's a big plus for Castletown. When he comes back in, there's even more pressure to score goals. Castletown to take the result. Elsewhere, Pulrose United third in the table at the moment on 19 points, so 7 points behind Colby in second, but with a game in hand, so could close the gap down the line at the very least. Pulrose United, they're going to be at home against Douglas Royal, sixth in the table at the moment, so mid-table. So, Tony, for Pulrose United, there's a significant gap to make up to both Castletown and Colby in front of them. Do you think they could make that up over the time starting this weekend? I think so, Rob. And again, it depends on what team they've got out this week. I thought last week there was a lot of their, star players were missing. Joe Canepa being one of them, Barry English too. So they need to get those
players back in, and that's maybe why they sort of found it really tough going last week against D&D. They got a great goalkeeper in Russell Dawson. Owen Canepa, we know what he's like, and Dylan Vick will score the important goals for them. But against Douglas Royal, again, it'd be what players they've got available. James Lowy, who will have the number 1 jersey on, but then you've got Simon Dooley, Dom Smith, you've got Holly Bonus now. I think that might be John's son. If it is, he's only just turned 16, I think, so well done to him to be in the first team. And then when you've got people like Jordan Cowan in there, you've got Bailey Ashton as well. Douglas Royal will have a go at Pulrose, but I just think if 1 or 2 players are back in for Pulley, they'll take the result.
And another team playing catch-up that could conceivably push toward the top, Tony. I don't think we've really maybe given them justice at this point because they've been short on games at times. Moran in 5th. They've only played 8 at the moment, 16 points on the board, so they've won 5 of those 8. Now, Tony, if they were to play 3 games in hand that they do have on the top 2, they would move to within a point of Colby in 2nd. Obviously, plenty between now and then. Moran, they're going to be away at St George's this weekend.
Yeah, and I think certainly with Moran, I've been looking at that, and it's just unfortunate the way things have gone with results and losing games and everything. But, I think, again, they haven't played for nearly 4 weeks, Rob. So, it must be so frustrating for David Brew, for the players and the whole club in general, because they're in a false position, I think. And the end of the season, I think you're looking at sort of Pulrose, Castletown, Colby and Moran. Maybe Ramsey Youth Centre if they can keep it going, but you could see why Moran are sort of right up there. People like Harry Barton, Connor Gilbert, Michael Hughes has been a good signing for him, Charlie Scarf, Carl Hartman. They can score goals, and James out the back is solid defender. Tom Redmond will create, but with St George's, I thought against Douglas Royal, fair point, 2-2. And Chris Bass played, so the manager of the Highland team put his jersey on. And when you look at other players in there as well, Julian Ringham, his trophy cabber, is busted at the seams. Nick Bass, Carl Gartland. It's not all doom and gloom, and I think just the younger players that are around him have got to just try and learn from these players, and hopefully it can improve for them. But against Moran, it's going to be too tough.
Very well, that's our Durnan Drugger Limited Division 2. Quick look at the combination leagues. Canada Life Combination 1, here's how things are looking at the top of the table going into this weekend. Ramsey still leading the way. 8 wins from their opening 10 and undefeated. The other 2 draws, so they're leading the way on 26 points. 2 points behind, also after 10 games, is Corinthians. And then making up the top 3 at the moment after 10 games is Peel on 20. But they're one of 3 teams on 20 points. Russian United on 20 points as well, and with the same goal difference, but only behind on goals scored. And then Laxey in 5th, also on 20, but behind Peel and Russian on goal difference. So, Tony, we have Bradham versus Corinthians, Peel versus Ayr United, Douglas High School Old Boys versus Ramsey, Laxey versus St Mary's, Onken versus St John's United, and the fixture that you mentioned that is a new addition at the start of the show, Foxdale versus Russian United, which will take place at Russian United. Right,
no pressure on this one because there's a lot at stake at the top of this combination 1 when you look at sort of down to Laxey, to be honest with you, 5th. Bradden against Corinthians. I'm going to go for Corinthians to win. Good 8-1 win last week against Union Mills. Peel against Ayr United. Peel in 3rd in the league, and they're 6 points behind the leaders Ramsey, so I'm going to go for Peel to win. Old Boys against Ramsey. Ramsey top of the table, but Old Boys have done really well, scoring plenty of goals. I know they're down in 9th place, but I'm going to go for Ramsey to win. Laxey against St Mary's. As we've said many times, Laxey scores so many goals, and that puts them in a good place to try and get the result. I'm going to go for Laxey to beat St Mary's. Onken against St John's. I'll go with Onken to win. And Foxdale v Russian. Russian just slipped down a little bit in 4th place, but they're still in with the mix, and I'm going to go for Russian to take victory in that.
Our Durnan Drugger Limited Combination 2, 6 games penned in this weekend. Here's how things look at the summit. Pulrose United continuing to impress, still with that flawless record. It's now 12 wins from 12 Pulrose United at the top of the table, and that means they are 8 points clear of Douglas Athletic in 2nd, albeit Douglas Athletic have played a game less on 11. And then Ramsey Youth Centre and Old Boys in 3rd, also on 28 points, behind Douglas Athletic on goal difference, but have played a fewer game again. So Ramsey Youth Centre and Old Boys on 10 games. So Tony, this weekend, Ramsey Youth Centre and Old Boys have just mentioned, they'll be at home to Jim's. Governors Athletic against Colby, which is now being played at Colby. Douglas and District versus Castletown. Douglas Royal versus Pulrose United, the leaders. Michael United versus St George's, and Moran against Douglas Athletic.
Ramsey Youth Centre against Gyms. I'll go third against fifth. That's Ramsey Youth Centre third. I'll go for Ramsey Youth Centre to win. Governors Athletic against Colby, as you rightly say. It's been switched to Colby, 2 o'clock kickoff. Colby to win. Douglas and District against Castletown. There's not much between these two. I know Douglas and District down the bottom, but they've got one or two sort of players maybe back in there, but I'll go for Castletown just to pip it. Douglas Royal against Pulrose. Absolutely tremendous the way Pulrose are going. Played 12. They've won them all, 36 points and top of the table, so Pulrose to win that. Michael United against St George's. St George's in 12th, I can't see them beating Michael, so I'm going to go for Michael on that. And Moran against Douglas Athletic. Douglas Athletic second. Moran are in 4th. Moran might just be able to get something out of it, but we've got to go for the high score in Douglas Athletic to take the win.
So those are Saturday's fixtures, all kicking off at 2 p.m. as it stands. If there are any updates with regards to weather, which, as Tony has mentioned, could be closing in once again this weekend, we will let you know as soon as possible. The football action is due to continue on Sunday. The latest round of the Canada Life Women's Floodlit Cup fixtures, a doubleheader planned in at the Bowl. The first of those is a 2:10 p.m. kickoff at the Bowl on Sunday, and that sees Corinthians, very strong start to the season, as many would probably predict from this Corinthians women's side, up against Russian United. Yeah,
and Russian United new into the league, and Donna Harrison's done a really good job, in getting them organised and playing football. They're improving every day, or every week I should say, and against Corinthians it's going to be really tough, but it's the Floodlit Cup, so the challenging, just see if they can get as many points as they can to finish in the top 4, so you've got to go for Corinthians to win. Douglas Royal against Onken, I think could be tough for Douglas Royal, because Onken have got some really good players in there. Casey Halsall's one of them, and I'd expect Onken to take victory in that game.
So just taking a quick look then at the standings as they are in the Canada Life Women's Floodlit Cup at the moment. There are 2 teams with perfect records, 3 wins from 3, and they are Peel and Douglas Royal at the moment. Corinthians, with the 1 game they've played so far, a big 17-0 win over Union Mills. That came back on the 16th of November. And then looking elsewhere as well, another team on 3 points is Onken with 1 win and 1 defeat so far. Meanwhile, looking to still get their first points on the board are Malou, Russian United and Union Mills. Away from the Canada Life Women's Floodlit Cup, I should say, we are going to have one Canada Life Women's League fixture, and that sees Malou. They'll be entertaining Peel at Clackvane.
Yeah, we're just trying to squeeze a couple of rearranged fixtures in, and this is one that was in the Grass League, so this has been rearranged, and Malou against Peel. I think Peel proved too strong, because at the moment Peel have got advantage in this league by beating Corinthians, and I expect them to win on Sunday against Malou.
And last but certainly not least, we've got 2 games in the Masters football on Sunday.
Yeah, and fingers crossed on this one, because it's going to be weather sort of dependent on this one, because they're both on grass. Corinthians against Ayr United. Ayr United to win that, and Colby against Governors Athletic. Governors have got a really good Masters side, so they'll mix it against a more experienced Colby side, but with Colby 1 or 2 new players back in of the younger age, sort of helps them with those fresh legs, and I'm going to go for Colby to win.
Tony, thank you very much.
Manx Radio Sport.
Moving on, and in what will be just her second fight this calendar year, Isle of Man pro boxer Jade Burden will face a former title contender in the UK this weekend. The Grenade will return to action on Saturday night at Winter Gardens in Blackpool, where she'll face an experienced opponent in Lindsay Bashinsky. The Manx fighter is unbeaten at pro level in her first 3 bouts, with her most recent success an explosive first-round knockout win over Sydney Chambers in September. Bashinsky, meanwhile, comes into this contest with 5 wins and 5 losses, and has competed for both English and Commonwealth belts in the last 2 years. Well, I've been speaking with Jade this week on the Challenge Ahead this weekend, and what she hopes any potential victory could do for her career path into next year.
I've got a big step up, really. She's been on the scene quite a while. She's actually boxed Nikki Arthur in the amateurs as well. But yeah, she's fought for an English title, a Central Area title, and she's also fought for the Silver Commonwealth title. She has been on the losing ends of them, but the reason why we've got Lindsay is because of the experience that she has, and I feel like it's a good time to step up.
Like you say on that point, although maybe lost those title fights, clearly someone who had the experience and the quality mentality to be challenging in the first place, and that's ultimately what you want to be doing in the long run as well.
Yeah, absolutely. It's been a bit of a challenging 2025, but I want to move on now. So I feel like, once I get past Lindsay this weekend, like that just sets me up for next year for bigger and better things. And it's the experience, which is what I want.
How have the last few weeks been getting ready for this one?
Yeah, it's been great. So I train, for those that don't know, I train in Liverpool at No Limits Gym, where Jamie Devine's based out of. Meatball Molly from the UFC's there now, as she's turned over. So the experience that I get from just having her around, doing rounds with her, she's so experienced, and the advice that she gives me is just, it's really great, and I've learnt loads from her. But obviously not prior to boxing in September. Before that was December the year before. But I've had like the whole year basically just to go back to basics and kind of adapt to the pro style a little bit more. So I think it's obviously done me the world of good. Hence the first round knockout in the last one.
How do you rate yourself up against your opponent this weekend in terms of trying to get the job done? I mean, are you looking for maybe something as explosive as last time, or are you preparing for all possibilities?
Do you know what, like going back to the last one, all I was told from my coach was just to be relaxed and be patient, and that's exactly what I did. And okay, the knockout came in the first round, but that was just from being relaxed, being happy in there and just enjoying it. So I don't really think about too much about her. I just kind of worry. Well, I don't even worry. I just think about what I've got to do. And I know that if I stick to my game plan, like I know I'll be successful on the night.
Looking forward then, if, as you're hoping, you're successful this weekend against an opponent with experience, as you've pointed out as well, what do you think that will hopefully open up going into, obviously not just the end of this year, but maybe going into 2026?
Yeah, I think it's, I've already heard from, my manager and stuff, it's probably titles next. So whether it's a Central Area title or like a Silver Commonwealth or just, an English title, but that's what I need to stay motivated. I need to be chasing those big fights, because you want to be not frightened, but you want to push yourself as much as you can, and you want these challenges, because the more you push, the more you challenge, the more you get the experience and you become a better fighter. So I want to be mixing it with the best that's out there, really, and I thoroughly do. Like, I really believe in myself that I can mix it with them. The support that you get from people who travel to watch your fights as well, and obviously there's been so many changes over 2025, and I know that you, particularly on social media as well, have continued to thank people for altering their plans and things that are beyond a lot of people's control, including yourself as well. So what would it mean to have a good support in Blackpool and going forward? Yeah, it means everything. Like, without these people that buy tickets and obviously give up their hard-earned cash, I wouldn't be able to do this, because the pro game is pretty ruthless. If you don't sell tickets, you don't box, basically, until you get the opportunities. So it's just one of them things where you have to earn your stripes. Nothing's given, it's always earned. But I take pride from that and know that I've always got a good supportive contingent behind me. That is undefeated Isle of Man professional boxer Jade Burden ahead of her latest return to the ring. She's going to be taking on former title contender Lindsay Bashinsky at Winter Gardens in Blackpool tomorrow night. Coming up after the break, we'll be taking a look at the latest rugby action, including a big Manx derby this weekend, a big finale coming to the Manx hockey season. We'll have that in just a few moments.
Manx Radio Sport.
Welcome back to Friday Sport Preview on Manx Radio. Rugby is our focus now, and it's a case of quality over quantity very much in terms of the amount of games that we've got going on the Isle of Man this weekend. 3 of the island's teams in action, and crucially, there is a highly anticipated Manx derby in the works in the north of the island this Saturday. Douglas, meanwhile, looking to keep up their fantastic run in Regional 2 Northwest, going through things. As always, with us is our rugby correspondent, Dave Christian. Dave, let's turn to arguably the headline tie this weekend, and it comes in Counties 3, ADM, Lancashire and Cheshire. Now, Ramsey, they will be hosting Vagabonds at Morwick Park at 1:30pm on Saturday, and Ramsey have said, at the very least, Dave, that it's believed to be the first game between two Isle of Man sides in the English leagues in 5 years as well. How much anticipation is there around this one?
Yeah, I know everyone's pretty excited by it, Rob, and it's been talked about pretty much since the fixture list came out in July. It will be the first meeting in 5 years, but we have had, if you remember, in the last 5 years, we've had COVID and Ramsey dropped out of the leagues. Douglas are a little bit higher than Vagabond, so those two aren't going to meet. But in reality, the teams have been playing each other in the Manx Cup and the Manx Shield competitions on and off for quite some time. The fact that it's the English Clubs Championship, I don't think makes too much difference to anybody. Vagabonds have a club dinner tomorrow night, their annual dinner, which always falls just before Christmas. So the bragging rights for them will be immensely important. And probably going into the game, looking at the way the form's gone so far this season, you've got to fancy Vagabonds to be starting as favourites. They're really tight in the forwards. The front five really, really good. They've been putting pressure on everybody they've been playing. And Ramsey, of course, have shipped some big adverse results. That 116 points at Bury sticks in the craw and the mind a little bit. And that's partly down to the massive points deficit that Ramsey have with the leakiest defence in the league. But we know there are mismatches in these early stages. And I know that the league's going to split very shortly. There's only 3 games left, I think, or 4 games left before the league splits. Ramsey and Vagabonds currently, whatever the result tomorrow, look destined to be in the bottom half. So they're going to meet each other again probably after Christmas. And we've got teams, I think Ramsey have got an away fixture next week at Duckenfield. Duckenfield are probably going to stay in the bottom half. And the likes of Oldham, Bury and Burnley, the bigger sides, they're all going to be in the top half. So competition should even out for both Ramsey and Vagabonds after Christmas. But tomorrow, you've got to fancy Vagabonds.
Well, look, we'll come to teams in just a moment. Just going off your point there, Dave, of the league splitting in a few games' time. Of course, this is how it looks as it stands. Of course, plenty can change. If we're looking at the bottom 7 of the 14 teams in the table at the moment, Vagabonds and Ramsey currently occupying the 2 bottom places at the moment. Ramsey, incidentally, still looking for that first win of the season. So as it stands at the moment, joining Vagabonds and Ramsey would be Congleton, Ormskirk, Colne Nelson, Duckenfield and Clitheroe. And Dave, looking at particularly the fixtures these two sides had last weekend against 2 of the top 3 in Burnley and Oldham as well, will both of them look to this as a way to kick on for the rest of the season?
Yeah, I mean, Ramsey's obviously my club, so I'm hopelessly biased, and I went to watch the game against Burnley last week. It's the first time I've watched them in league action this season, and I was quietly impressed. At half-time, there was only 4 points in the game. It was a game played by 2 sides who just wanted to do nothing else but run with the ball, which was great to see, and it was great for the crowd as well. And it turned out there were a couple of errors, probably early in the second half, that give Burnley an advantage that Ramsey could never pull back. But the guys scrapped right to the end and pulled a try back at the end as well. They got a try bonus point out of the game. So they were disappointed that they lost, but we had a club Melia last week, and I told the room, I was the auctioneer, and I said before we start, I want a round of applause from everybody for the guys who played out there today. The results haven't been going with them, but they played in a fantastic spirit out there, and we're unlucky probably not to get a better result, and that's against a team that are challenging at the top end of the table. So there's a little bit of confidence in the camp. Been a few changes to the team as well. Some of them forced, some of them not forced. Jake Seavers limped off in last week's game, so that means there's been a switch around. Matt Meekins had to come out of the forwards. He's going to play in the centres. Rory Nicholson's going to get a start at the tight head. But other than that, the back line, I think, is pretty much unchanged from last week. So everyone's confident in the Ramsey camp. Vagabonds not released their team yet, but that's not unusual. They don't read anything into that. They're normally late-ish on a Friday with team news. So, we're looking forward to the game. It's a 1:30 kickoff. I just need to emphasise that. We've had some social media out this week saying it's 2:15. It is at 1:30 kickoff at the Murrock Park. And everybody will be wired up for that one. And before, we've got an 11:15 kickoff for an under-16s game between Ramsey and Vagabonds as well. So if you want a full day of grassroots rugby, the Murrock Park's the place to go.
So, team news for that Manx derby between Ramsey and Vagabonds in County Street, ADM Lancashire and Cheshire tomorrow, as Dave's mentioned. No updates yet from Vagabonds, but that will come in good time, no doubt. Ramsey, meanwhile, this is how the team looks. So their starting 15, numbers 1 to 15 in order. It is Adam Dunlop, Ben Hardman, Rory Nicholson, Aaron Curfey, Jacob Catine, Carl Kenyon, Harvey Collister, Captain Josh Catine, Dan Kelly, Tom Moffat, Will Millsop, Kieran Neal, Matthew Meakin, Braden Roche and Brandon Atchison. 3 substitutes for Ramsey. They are Dewan Collister, Neil Harmer and Adam Dempsey. And in the other game elsewhere at Portashee, Douglas second and sitting pretty at the moment in Regional 2 North West with 7 wins from 8. Looking to continue bearing down on league leaders. Sandbach this weekend are the only trail by 3 points. They've got a potentially tricky test though up against another side in the top 5 in Widnes.
Yeah, I'm going to dampen the spirits a little bit here, Rob. Let's not talk about promotion and league leaders, but Douglas have had a good run of form. They have engineered themselves an absolutely marvellous position in the league. They're 3 points behind league leaders Sandbach. They've got a game in hand, and crucially, Sandbach have yet to come to Portishead. And that game coming up in not too distant future, if my memory serves me correctly. Douglas has got some tricky ones too, though. They have to go away to North Ribblesdale. I think that's the last game of the season. And I'm just trying to wangle a little trip over. Might get over to watch that one, because Settle, where North Rib play, is apparently a very scenic and nice place to go. So myself and a couple of lads from Ramsey might just head over there just to watch that end of season game, particularly if we might see Douglas clinch promotion. But too early to talk about that just yet. Great news for Douglas. They are in a great position. They've got a strong team. They had a couple of knocks, though. Skipper Blake Snell, he took a rattle to the ribs last week. He's not been fit. And they're going to make some changes around that, but I don't think they're anything significant. Harry Cartwright is just going to move forward into the second row, and John Ducknell, who has thoroughly deserved a place in the starting team, he's going to get a start. And Douglas has gone great guns. You can't fault him. Coach Phil Kringle undoubtedly is doing whatever it is he's doing, and he's doing it very well, because they've not been in a position like this for quite a few years. So good luck to them. Widnes are going to be tough, though, Rob. They won at Portishead last season, which is reasonably recent as a form indicator. And they're not too far away from Douglas in the table. I think there's only 4 points separating the two. Widnes's record, though, includes 2 losing bonus points, and this is one of my favourite stats, because losing bonus point means you're lost by 7 or less, which is 1 score, potentially. Widnes have got 2 of those, and that means they've been very close to winning an additional 2 games, so they're going to be there and thereabouts, I would think, come the end of the season. Douglas will need that home advantage and a big crowd there at Portishead just to try and combat that. And kick-off at Portishead is also at 1:30, so don't be too late. I suspect that's due to Widnes's flight timings.
Excellent, Dave. Thank you very much. So your Douglas team, which, as Dave said, very much rooted in reality at the moment, despite their lofty place in the table. So the Douglas team to face Widnes at Portishead tomorrow. Starting 15, numbers 1 to 15 in order as follows: Simon Hoddinott, Josh Campbell, Owen Carvin, Harry Cartwright, Ethan Kermode, John Duttnell, Blake Everson, Captain Liam Kirkpatrick, Nathan Robson, Matty Wood, Craig Martin, Josh Duncan, Harry Hewson, Jack Wallace and Carl Martin. And 3 substitutes for Phil Kringle's sides. They will be Connor Garland, Kuzi Chenda and also Zach Wickman.
Manx Radio Sport.
Friday Sport Preview here on Manx Radio. The time has just gone 17 minutes past 6. Turning our attention to hockey. It's the final weekend of the 2025 Mixed Hockey League season on the Isle of Man. There have been plenty of twists and turns, and still plenty of twists and turns going into this weekend, because we still have 1 league title up for grabs and 2 relegation battles to be decided. That league title battle is quite something going into this final weekend. We'll come to that in a little bit. Joining us right now is our hockey correspondent Ben Cunningham. And Ben, there's an awful lot of things to work out this weekend, isn't there? A lot of things that could happen.
Yeah, I mean, we were just talking off air there. I think both me and you have had headaches this week trying to work out everything, but we think we've got everything down. So, yeah, let's see what happens this weekend. There's
been a lot of calculations. Calculator was out for the first time for me today, and the first time in a long time to work this out. Let's take a look at the fixtures then. A number, as I said, of league titles and relegations were decided last weekend. In the mixed Premier League, the league title was decided. Bacchusset were crowned champions, 9 wins from 9. Relegation yet to be decided. We'll come to that in a moment. But Bacchusset, they'll be taking on Valkyrie, Ben, at QE2 at 12:35pm tomorrow. Valkyrie, a good season themselves. Bacchusset, meanwhile, looking to make it a 100% record for the season. They're aiming for 10 wins from 10.
Absolutely, and Bacchusset definitely will be going for that 10 wins out of 10 and maximum points for sure. And I mean, this season, 53 goals scored and only 10 conceded. It's a fantastic performance they've had this season. Valkyries, though, they can be really happy with their performance this year, but they'll be delighted with how things have improved from last year's campaign. But it's going to be hard against the Bacchusset side, who have looked unstoppable all season.
Yeah, Valkyrie confirmed in second this season. They can't be caught either beneath them, so that's a very good season indeed for Valkyrie. The other 12:35 pushback is at King William's College in the Mixed Premier League. That's Harlequins, 6th in the table at the moment. They're going to be up against against Castletown Celt side, who are third at the moment and could finish third by the end of the weekend.
Yeah, and this game I think is going to be very close. Two very evenly matched sides, so it'd be interesting to see what two teams that both teams can pull out on the day for this game. It's going to be a close one, but I'm going to sit on the fence on this one.
Okay, and then there are two pushbacks at 2:05. One of them at Castle Rushen High School sees Vikings A, disappointing season maybe by their standards at the moment, fourth in the table going to this final game, up against Backers B in fifth.
Yeah, and of course Backers B are level on points with Vikings A. Just goal difference separates the two sides, so it could be a close game. I mean, the last time these two sides met, Backers B did just pip Vikings A.
And the final game, well, this is the one where the relegation battle will be decided, because it's the meeting of the bottom two, 2:05 at King William's College. Castletown Southerners versus Vikings B. Castletown Southerners bottom of the table with 1 point, Vikings B just above them on 3, and Vikings B only one better off on goal difference as well. So, Ben, as it stands, Castletown Southerners, they need to win this. Vikings B can afford to win or draw in this to stay up.
Absolutely, and if Southerners were to win, that goal difference could be crucial come towards the end of the game. So it'll be all to play for in this game. Of course, it's going to be a tough game for both sides, because neither side will want to be relegated for sure. But I'm going to sit the fence on this one. I think it's too close to call.
They only have to win by 1, though, because of they've actually, as well, even if things were level on goal difference, Castletown Southerners have just scored a few more over the course of the season. Now, Mixed Division 1, now this is, there's so much going on, so please do bear with us. There is a lot to get through here, because, in essence, in Mixed Division 1, there are 4 teams that could realistically win the Mixed Division 1 title. It's the only league title still up for grabs. It could either be done this weekend, or when Harlequins B play a game in hand on the 10th of December. So this is how the table looks. Backers C, top of the table, 12 points after 9 games, goal difference plus 20. Second, Valkyries B, after 9 games, 12 points, goal difference plus 13. Third, Ramsey A, 12 points after 9 games, plus 9. Harlequins B in fourth, they have 11 points, but after 8 games, so still have 1 game in hand. And the games this weekend will see, if we can just get those details up in front of us, all 4 of those teams playing each other, because Backers C will play Valkyries B, first versus second, 12:35 pushback at Castle Rushen High School. Ramsey A in third, play Harlequins B in fourth at Ramsey Grammar School at 2:05. And elsewhere, already relegated Viking C take on Valkyries C at QE2 in the early pushback at 11:05. So, here we go, just a very quick explainer for how things can work out. This is how Backers C can win the title. If they beat Valkyries B this weekend, Ramsey A beat Harlequins B this weekend, and Ramsey A don't win that match with a scoreline which sees them better Backers C's goal difference. Backers C could also win it if they beat Valkyries B this weekend. Ramsey A and Harlequins B draw this weekend, and Harlequins B lose, draw, or win and don't better Backers C's goal difference against Vikings C on the 10th of December. And also Backers C could win it if they draw with Valkyries B this weekend. Ramsey A and Harlequins B draw this weekend, and Harlequins B draw or lose against Vikings C on the 10th of December. Valkyries B, this is how they could win the title. If they beat Backers C this weekend, Ramsey A and Harlequins B draw this weekend, and Harlequins B draw or lose against Viking C on the 10th of December, or they beat Viking C on the 10th of December and don't better Valkyries B's goal difference. The third option for Valkyries B, bear with us here, they beat Backers C this weekend, Harlequins B beat Ramsey A this weekend, and Harlequins B then draw against Viking C on the 10th of December, and if their goal difference doesn't better Valkyries B, or if Harlequins B lose to Viking C on the 10th of December. We're nearly there. Ramsey A have 2 options that could win them the title. They beat Harlequins B this weekend, and Backers C and Valkyries B draw this weekend, or Ramsey A, if they beat Harlequins B this weekend, and either Backers C or Valkyries B win this weekend, and then Ramsey A better the winning team's goal difference from that other game. Harlequins B, now this is where it's a little more complicated, because of course that game in hand on the 10th of December. Harlequins B will win the title if they beat Ramsey A this weekend and win against Viking C on the 10th of December. So in essence, Harlequins B, if they win their next 2 games, they have won the league. We don't have time to go through the rest of the connotations. They're all available on the Manx Radio Sports Hub. But Ben, we're very tight for time here, but just how mad an ending is this to the Mixed Division 1 season?
You couldn't write it, really. It's an absolute mad ending to Division 1, and it's going to be an absolutely thrilling outcome to see what happens come the end of tomorrow night when we have the results all in.
And then we'll just take a very quick look as well at the other divisions. We mustn't forget those as well. So Mixed Division 2, so Castletown Camags were actually crowned champions over a week ago, in fact. But the relegation battle is still ongoing, and that is between two Castletown sides, because in Mixed Division 2, 11 push back at Castle Rushen High School, Castletown Cosney, who are bottom of the table at the moment, played Castletown Cushags. Cosney have to win, otherwise, and Cushags just need a win or a draw.
Yeah, so it's a big Castletown derby for sure in that game, and of course Cushags sit the prettier of the two sides, just that 1 point ahead, but it's all to play for, and as we've seen before, Castletown derbies, you just don't know what way they're going to go.
Indeed, and elsewhere, 11 push back at the NSC. This game with nothing in particular riding on it, but no doubt two teams looking to end the season strong. At the NSC, Backers Mixed Colts against Vikings D.
Yeah, both these two sides have had a great season. Vikings D in second, Backers Mixed Colts in third. Of course, if Backers Colts were to win this game, they'd finish level on points with Vikings D, but Vikings D have got a better goal difference, so Vikings D went there.
Yeah, Vikings D second in the table going into this final weekend. Can't catch Camags at the top. And elsewhere, late pushback 3:35 at Ramsey Grammar School. Ramsey Ravens up against Castletown Camags, the champions.
And I'm sure Castletown Camags will want to finish the season on a high with a win there against the Ramsey Ravens side that have had a mixed bag of season. I think Camags will want to end the season on a high there.
Last but certainly not least, Mixed Division 3, everything has been decided here already because Valkyries D were crowned Mixed Division 3 champions last weekend, and of course no relegation from the lowest tier in the mixed divisions as it stands. 4 games this weekend, 2 of those pushing back at 12:35. Very quickly, Ben, we'll take a look through these. So Ramsey Rookies versus Vikings E, and the other 12:35, Harlequins D versus Castletown Carrick.
Yeah, Rookies against Vikings E, that'll be a close game. I think Vikings E will just come out on top on that one. And then Harlequins D against Castletown Carrick at the NSC. I'm going to go for Harlequins D win there. Both sides level on points, but Harlequins with the better goal difference.
And the other 2 games are 5+2 pushbacks, Backers D versus Harlequins C at the NSC, and Valkyries D, the champions, up against Backers Mixed Bucks at QE2.
Yeah, and if Backers D can win and Backers Mixed Bucks fail to win against Valkyries D, Backers D could finish second in this league, so a big game for them against the Harlequins C side who drew last week with Backers Mixed Bucks, but Backers Mixed Bucks against Valkyries D this weekend. Valkyries D champions, and I'm sure they'll want to finish on a win.
Excellent, Ben. Thank you very much. And no doubt there'll be plenty of stat juggling tomorrow over on Saturday Sport Classified.
Manx Radio Sport.
And finally tonight, the Isle of Man Cricket Association is set to open its new indoor facility next week. Work on the centre has taken over 6 months, and after some delays, it'll be open to players and the public in the coming days. Based on Cars Lane Intramode, it's the first facility of its kind in cricket on the island. Among its features is a bowling machine used by only 30 other clubs in the world. Well, Cricket Development Officer Greig Wright and national team bowler Matt Ansell have been speaking to Darren Tinson and Lewis Foster.
We just wanted to try and make cricket more accessible. The season's quite short, 14 weeks a year, and then we wanted to try and extend the season for those that want to play cricket and try and have a better training stroke match play facility that's available to all year round. So this is it.
The Isle of Man cricket team is one of the only world ranked squads from the Isle of Man. How important, how beneficial is this training centre going to be for those winter months?
Huge. Most if not all improvements are done out of season. So out of season training is where you make the difference. It's what people cry out for. So you go into a season with a game, so that 38 weeks of non-match play activity is essential to get us up to speed ready.
You mentioned there how good it'll be for the Isle of Man team, but it's not just a national training centre, is it? It's for the community as well.
Yeah, anyone can come down and use it. There'll be an open booking system where people can just hire a lane or come down with a few mates and just get involved. It's not an elitist setup by any stretch of the imagination. We want more people playing. We want more people to benefit from it.
It's unreal. I think as soon as we found out about the facility and the plans in place, I think I was very excited to see what was actually going to come from it. And I think at least from when they started work on it to now, I think is tremendous turnaround. It looks unreal.
When you think back to when you were coming up the ranks, would you have appreciated something like this? What would that have meant to you back then?
Oh, very much so. I think the NSC is a good facility, but I think that the fact that this is now purpose-built for cricket, I think there's so many more options that we have available to us now, which is just, very good. I think the fact that it's going to be available to us as well as a purpose-built cricket facility. I think the idea that outside of training as well, we can just come and book it, and you don't have to book like a whole facility, then yeah, it's perfect.
I'm looking for the future generation as well that'll be getting to take advantage of this facility. What will it do for the future of Isle of Man cricket, do you think?
I think it's just more opportunities. I think the fact that obviously this is available to them for whatever opening times it's going to be, I think the opportunities for more winter camps, summer camps, whatever. So even in the summer, if it's raining, obviously you're limited options, whereas now if you've got the option to be able to come in here if it's raining, I think it's the fact that there's cricket all year round.
Darren Tinson and Lewis Foster speaking to Isle of Man Cricket Development Officer Greig Wright and Isle of Man men's national team player Matt Ansell there. And you can actually see an extended video feature, Darren and Lewis, I suppose, being put through their paces at the new cricket facility over at Manx Radio's YouTube and social media channels. Thank you so much for joining us this evening on Friday Sport Preview. Have a wonderful evening and a wonderful weekend. Until next time, bye for now.
Manx Radio Sport.